Hey, let's trim our pitcher.
But first, let's grab us some coffee. I'm kind of feeling like a banana-rama today.
All right, we're gonna trim this bad boy. First, we're gonna use this chuck because it's got an altered rim and it makes it really hard to stick upside down on that rim. It wouldn't be nice and even. So I'm gonna put it in the chuck and cinch it in with this Giffen grip. Love these things. Get it nice and tight. That chuck is really heavy, so I would like it cinched as good as I can because I am going to be having my wheel go quite fast. If your wheel is going fast when you're trimming, it will make your trimming a lot more even. I'm going to use some wads of clay and I'm going to just kind of shove them between my pot and the chuck and keep it nice and secure. That way it's not moving around. If you don't do this, you have a pretty good chance of your pot turning, leaving scratch marks around the outside of your piece. So we don't want that, so we're going to take these wads of clay, we're going to shove them right between the pot and the chuck and get it nice and secured. I like to use 3 pieces of the clay, that way if I have to adjust, it makes it just a little bit easier. So get those in there, get them nice and tight. And this is going to help a lot. With this piece, I not only want to get this nice and trimmed, but I also am thinking that I'm going to chatter the bottom third of the pot. Just to give it a little bit of texture. I like chattering. I like any kind of texture. Chattering is a great way to achieve that, and it just looks good. So here we go. I've got it as centered as it's going to get for now, and I'm going to just take my trimming tool. I'm keeping my elbows tucked into my body. I'm also trying to keep both of my hands touching at all times. This keeps you nice and steady. Since I am going to chatter this, I don't want to take off too much off of my walls. I want to make sure that I have a little bit of extra clay so that I can chatter. I'm going to take this tool right here and I am going to hold it really tight with my hands and just run it along my wall. This technique is called chattering, and I'll have a tutorial coming up on how to do this and what kind of tools you can use for it. But you can see the little lines that it created. They're kind of like chisel marks, and this will catch the glaze beautifully, especially if you have a nice glaze that breaks over texture. So I'm going to put my little lines right there and then my chop. All right, so the trimming part is done with this. Now what we need to do is add a handle, so we have a cute little pitcher. I'm going to just wipe away any clay that attached itself while trimming. Get it so I like it, and then you can look here and you can see that chattering marks that the tool had left. Now let's get ready and pull a handle. We're going to need plenty of water, and we're going to use a wear board. I normally do this on a table, but why make it easy? So I'm just going to grab my clay and I want to shape it into the shape of a carrot. Since this is a pitcher and I want it a little bit larger, I'm going to use a bigger piece of clay. And then I slab it down. So I've got this little carrot shape. It's small at the bottom and fatter up at the top. And then one side is flat. Now I'm dipping my clay in the water and my hand. I want both of them wet constantly. If they dry out, you have a good chance of your clay just ripping. So you just want to slide your hand down the clay. Do this several times. I like to use the back of my thumb. I guess it's the back of your knuckle, I would say. And I put that down the center part and then down the 2 sides to give this a little bit of a shape. So I'm going to keep pulling. You want to pull right off of the end. If you stop right before the end of it, you'll get a little clump of clay and you'll end up having to pinch that off. But here I am just stretching this clay. And like I said, you want to keep dunking your hands and the clay in water. So once I get it the length I want, I'm going to go up to a little fatter edge, and I'm going to cut this at an angle so you can see where it starts to get a little chubbier. So I cut that off with a serrated rib, and then I'm going to pull another one. This handle, I'm thinking that I'm going to want it doubled up just to give it a little bit more of a flair, just a little style to it, I would say. So I'm just pulling this also. I think I'm going to pull this one a little bit longer than the first one, so this one can be the bottom layer of it and the other one will be the top of it. So you'll see here how I try to keep it nice and even. I'm turning it as I go. That way I don't have one side that is fatter than the other side. They're both nice and even. I like to have the most clay right at the top. That way I have something to hold on to. And then I want the clay also pointing straight down. Try not to put it so it's going out. You're going to have a little bend in it if you do that. We don't want that bend. We want to be able to shape it the way we want it shaped. So keeping it up and down is really going to help with this. I stretched this one pretty long. That way I have a lot of clay to work with. I'm going to lay it out on my wear board here. I'm going to cut it off right when it starts getting a little bit fatter. Now I'm going to grab the pitcher so I can attach the handle to it. I want to decide where the handle is going to go. For this one, I want to go straight across from the spout. I need to get this wet. Generally, I would like to dunk that in the water and get that outside area of the clay wet, but it's too big to dunk in that pitcher or that bucket. So I just use my hand. And now I'm going to use my paintbrush to get a straight line. That way I know exactly where that handle is going to start. All right, I'm going to readjust here so I have a spot to set all this. Move this over so I don't break anything. Okay, this will help. All right, now I'm going to take the longer piece and I'm going to score it up. Get it nice and scored, that way I'm making slip. If you do this, you don't need to add slip at all. You've created it. Once you have this in the spot that you like it, and it's straight from the spout, you're going to start attaching it by having part of your hand on the inside of your piece and your hand on the outside pressing in. And this way you can kind of give it a pinch, trying to get any air out from between the two pieces and just smoothing it all up, making it nice. I want to pull this down. I keep one finger at the top of my handle, that way it doesn't come down too much and be really flat. I want to give it a nice little arch. I tend to back away from it a little bit to make sure that I'm putting it on straight, and then I'll flip it, and still same thing, I'm making sure that the shape of it is how I want it. I'm going to press in on that bottom part. With this, you do not need to score it at all. You can just press it into your piece. You generally will have a little bit of clay that hangs off the end. I always try to have more clay for my handle than what I need. So at that end, I just pinch it off. Anything I'm not going to use. And then just flatten and straighten out whatever you don't like. So, of course, you don't want any sharpness on a handle, since that's where everybody's hand is going to go. You don't want anyone getting cut. So I smooth out anything that isn't going to be comfortable in the end. So, choo-choo, little smoothing, and there you go. I've got that first layer of the handle on. Clean up anything that I'm not particularly loving, making sure everything's good. And then I'm going to put that next layer on, just because I think this needs a little bit more weight to a handle than what I have, so it looks more proportionate. For this second layer, there really isn't a lot of scoring I do or anything like that. I make sure both of the pieces are wet. On this one, I just rolled the top of it a little bit to give it more of like a little thumb rest. And then I'm going to just slide it down the center portion of the original handle. And then I'll just blend it. So here I am blending them both together. Get it how you like it. Making sure that that arch is still really nice and curved, but not too curved. I don't like a handle that sticks way out from my piece. So I like it to have enough room that your hand can slide in, but not so much that your hand is way away from the pot itself. So here I am just kind of cleaning everything up. I love paint brushes to do this. Any tight little area that your hand might not be able to get into, a paintbrush is fabulous for. So here's the handle, here's the finished piece. If you like this video, please subscribe to our page. Can't wait to see you in the studio.